valley of the shadow of death, and I fear no evil because I'm blind to it all.
Hey, what's up guys, you're watching Wayfinder. My name is Rocky. Today's video is going to be a continuation of a video that I released last week on how to attract women as an introvert. This one's going to be part 2. Before I start off, as I always do with all my videos, because I know that you guys are busy, you got things to do in your life, you're always pursuing, better things, greater things, improving. I always put timestamps on my videos, so if you don't have enough time, you can always skip to the part that interests you and watch that. But as I always say, if you're here for the long haul and you want to watch everything, then feel free and watch everything. But there are always timestamps down below if you want to skip. So this is the continuation. Let me begin. It's not only about inner value, it's not only about the perceived outer value, it's also about making myself a made man with stuff that I own. When you work on yourself, when you work on career, everything other than relationships, naturally you have less experience in romantic relationships. So that's like a weakness that I saw with the red pill narrative, or like these guys who say like work on yourself, get the dough, get the body, get the status. Because of those things, I've seen a lot of people, even you can attest to this in your own life, that you know people who are super rich, who are super successful, who have the best body, and yet maybe they're still struggling with relationships. Or perhaps some of you are in that position right now. You're still struggling with relationships because you have not maximized that skill set. It's like a video game. You may have upgraded yourself along the skill tree of career, along the skill tree of body, but you didn't level up in romantic relationships or social dynamics whatsoever. So when you do get to try getting into relationships, no matter how high value you are, it may come easier because you have foundation, but you still have to learn stuff. And it was no different in my own life. So that's why you gotta keep an eye out, because if you see an opportunity and you really kind of need the experience or whatever, you just seize the day, just go forwards. If there's a girl that you see likes you, just go with her for now. Sometimes now, looking back at my own life, high school, secondary school, university even, I could see that, because sometimes you don't pay attention to other girls, you're just focusing on one that you have a crush on. You don't pay attention to the surroundings. Sometimes there are girls that are crushing on you, and if you look back in hindsight, you can really attest to the fact that a lot of these girls were pretty high value and actually pretty, and you would have not minded getting together with them. So seize the opportunity, always keep your eyes open for that. Even if achievement wise you are considered alpha or perhaps sigma or whatever, you're considered a successful man and you know it, other people know it, you can still be a beta when it comes to relationships, and you don't know how to spot a woman, you don't know how to approach a woman. Because in university, since I made a part 2, I'm gonna try to give more examples. In university, I liked this girl from Hong Kong, a Hong Kong girl. And with this girl from Hong Kong, I repeated the same beta male mistake that I did when I was in primary school. And sometimes, you try and you try, but then you're bound to make the same mistake twice, especially when you make your little head think over your big head and your emotions get out of whack. Men were not supposed to be the emotional ones, we're supposed to be the logical ones. And sometimes you do get into your feelings and you do start to play the part of the woman. So this is the thing, that's the problem. I like this girl so much that I asked my mom's advice, stupid me, and I was already in university. So I did make my mistakes, guys, I'm not perfect. So I did ask my mom's advice, and she gave me things like, oh, you write poems, you get chocolates, you get her flowers, do the nice fancy stuff, make her know and stuff like that. That's the thing, they always say in the red pill, you don't ask a fish how to catch a fish. You ask a fisherman how to catch a fish, because he caught a fish, the fish will give you bullshit reasons. And in my own life, as you guys probably who stuck around for a long time, you will know that I do fish, but I don't do fish with a pole, I spear fish. So there's even more experience that I have in this in terms of metaphor and analogy. You see, one of the techniques in spearfishing is called the ambush technique, whereby you hold your breath, you're on top of water, you hold your breath, and then you sink to the bottom. You just sink to the bottom. Because even when you're fishing, you just like poof, and then you let the bait hang in the water, you just wait. Because even if you're a spearfisher and you run after the fish is much faster than you. So it's like if you chase a woman, It's like you're chasing your shadow. Your shadow will always run away from you, right? But then if you wait, sometimes the fish come to you. That's what they call in spearfishing, ambush technique. You just sink to the bottom slowly and you'll notice the fish kind of going away. The fish will go away from you. They kind of get scared. They're very like that. But fishes are like women. They're curious creatures. And you, sinking to the bottom, you're like a mystery. So they will wonder, what's this? Is this food? Is this what? What is this? Is this a new home that I can possibly go into? And what you'll notice, but you gotta have big lungs for this, is that like maybe after 30 seconds, 45 seconds, the fish will start to come back to you and investigate what fell down. So they will start coming towards you. And then from there, all you can do, it's like a buffet. You look at the fishes that you want and you're like, oh, there's a nice big one. And then you just like slowly aim your gun towards it and then aim, shoot. It's kind of the same thing in relationships. You don't like hunt down the girl. You don't give her flowers and all that super fun. You gotta be there, announce that you, make sure that she knows that you are there, that you're present, and she is aware that you are, you know, a high value man and whatever. And then you slowly do it. You warm her up. And the thing is with this girl from Hong Kong, I didn't warm her up. What I did was I did a poem, I did the chocolates, I did the flower. I waited so long, like maybe over a month. I was there, yeah, I was hanging around, but hanging around in a beta male way. And then, finally, when I thought that there was time, I caught her alone, then I gave her the flowers, I gave the poem, I gave her the chocolates, fuck my life. And then she said, oh, that's very nice, let me walk you to your dorm. So I was like, I'm gonna get something tonight. Walked me to her dorm, went all the way to my dorm, and on the door outside of my room, she hugged me, and she said, I just want to stay friends. I'm like, fuck my life. So yeah, sometimes doing everything right doesn't work if the girl is not right for you. And this is the nice guy technique. And many videos already say like, oh, you never do the nice guy, women like bad boys. And it's true, because sometimes the girls, guys, when you're younger, you paint girls as like this princess, perfect. Many girls are not princesses. Many girls are far from perfect. They have their own mistakes. So they want to get with a guy who is kind of equally flawed, or sometimes even more flawed, because they have this nurturing spirit that wants to build a guy up. That's why there's lots of these stories. A girl goes with a bad guy, or bad boy, trying to heal him, trying to make him better, trying to say like, oh, you know, he's bad, yeah, but he's only good to me. And nice guys, well, there's nothing to heal with a nice guy. And many times nice guys, you do nice things, but you have expectations for doing those things, and a girl can kind of smell that off of you. So sometimes you just have to go have fun, don't have any expectations. And also the mistake that I did with her is that I invested too early. That's one thing you have to keep in mind when you're trying to get with a girl. Don't invest too early, don't show your cards super fast, don't give her the poems, don't give her the chocolate, don't give the flower, because you may like her physically, but do you really like her emotionally? Do you know her really well? Probably not. And I didn't know this girl really well at all. So why am I prepared to spend money for her, right? So what I learned is that you invest while the girl invests. When you spend more time with each other, you give her the gift of your time. When she does good things, you give her maybe a compliment. When she does more, then you take her out on a date, and then you give her the chocolates, and then you give her the flour. It's like butter. Butter is your investment of whatever. You spread the butter on the bread smoothly, little by little. It's like fun. You spread it evenly. You don't put one clump of butter boop on the beginning of the bread, because it's disgusting somehow. For people who like the taste of butter, maybe they like that, but for most people they prefer an even spread of butter, because if you write all the poems, you're gonna get tired of writing the poems, and then if the girl gets with you because she likes the poems, in the future you're sick and tired of doing poems, and maybe you didn't like to do poems, but you did poems because you wanted to impress her. You're pretending. So eventually, as I said, short-term solutions result in short-term results. So if you give her the poem, she might think like, oh, he's a guy who likes poems. In fact, you don't like poems. And then in the future, she does get together with you and you stop writing the poems. You'll kind of wonder why. She starts losing interest in you, right? So the same thing, you don't have so much money to keep buying chocolate, you don't have so much money to keep buying flowers. So do things that you know you can consistently keep up with, or keep one-upping. So it's better to one-up, it's better to do 80% in the beginning, and then when you get together with a girl, do 100%, then go 120%, and when you get with a girl, you're only comfortable doing 80% or 100%. It's the same thing with relationships, also the same thing with career and life. You give people too much, they expect, oh, this is the par, this is his baseline, not knowing that you're overperforming. And so you have to either overperform to keep them happy, but that's not good because you're gonna burn out either way, right? So don't invest too early. It's like, relationships is like dancing. When you dance, when you see a guy and a girl dance, they are kind of playing equal parts. The guy moves forward, the girl moves backward. The girl moves forward, the guy moves backward. The guy is not carrying the girl all around the place. It doesn't make sense. There has to be an equal amount of time. So the energy, it's like the investment that you give. You can't carry her. The girl wants the fun of dancing too. She doesn't want to be a doll that you just take her everywhere. Maybe in the bed, but not like in life, not in the chase and not in the pursuit of this relationship. She wants to have her fun as well. She wants to chase you. Don't deprive her of that chase. So I failed miserably with this Hong Kong girl, but I resolved to try again with another girl in the future. So a year later, still in university, I liked this French girl. And so learning from my mistake from the Hong Kong girl, I told myself, okay, let me start with low investment. Let me just start out with complimenting her, simple, no strings attached. And then afterwards starting to message her, getting her Facebook Messenger. And at that time was Facebook was a thing. Message, but not message too much. Just keep that in mind. Messaging simple things, but message with the purpose of arranging dates. Never, one thing I want to insert here. When you message and text a girl, the purpose of messaging and texting should be to arrange a date, especially when you're leading up to a relationship. If you're in a relationship, it's fine to text a girl all day, how are you, na 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 na, especially if you are living apart. But leading up to a relationship, when you want to date a girl, messaging should only be used to set dates. That's it. Because take it this way. If you explain your life, if you explain who you are, if you explain how your day was, you talk about everything on Messenger. When you do get on that date, finally, thank God, what are you going to talk about that she hasn't heard already, right? Where's the element of mystery? That's why you got a message to set dates. So that's what I did with this French girl. So we ended up together. But at the time, I was very religious, very spiritual. And I didn't want to have sex just off the bat. And it was a surprise to me because I'm from an Eastern culture. That Western culture, they're kind of more liberal in this sense. And so we've been together for quite a long time, many weeks, and then weeks turned into months. And then afterwards she told me, she said, when she was in my room, she said, I'm not a virgin. And I was like, that's a strange statement to say. Like she said, yeah, I got with this guy a long time ago when I was not I lost my virginity when I was 16. And then afterwards I'm like, what are you telling me all of these things for? When I was younger, I didn't realize it. But now, after going through the experience, I realized that maybe the girl told it to me because she was thinking that I was scared to have sex with her because I was worried that she was a virgin, or I wanted the girl who was experienced. So that's why she told it to me. And she wanted, literally in the end of the day, she just wanted us to have sex. So this is one other lesson. Some women, depending on the culture of the woman that you're getting with, need to have sex before they consider a relationship with you. You're only going to be kind of in the dating phase, never anything with commitment, unless you do have sex. And when you do have sex, the girl will kind of process it and say like, oh, okay, do I have sexual chemistry with the guy or not? And if yes, then maybe she will start being more invested. But sometimes for you guys who are kind of scared of having sex with a girl, or not scared, but you don't want to have sex, you want to reserve yourself, you may lose a lot of, especially girls from the Western culture, because of this thing. They may not, you're wondering why they're not investing more, why they don't want to, it seems like you plateau in the relationship. It's because of that. You didn't have sex and she doesn't want to consider anything more with you. So it's either you have sex or you just, find another girl. That's it. Simple as that. And with this girl, so many things happened. Like she stayed in my room during the Christmas break, always giving me hints. When I went to France, in Paris, she invited me to stay over at her house. Nothing happened again. And eventually the thing died. So that's it. So that's a lesson from then. Then the next highlight that I have lessons for you guys is also in university. I got together, I liked this Chinese girl, And using the lessons that I learned from the past already, I applied it here, is again low investment. I approached her. She was in the school club slash bar. I approached her. We were already kind of tipsy and everything. Like when you're younger, they always say like, oh, the guys who drink to get courage, they are kind of beta males because they need the substance to become more confident. It's true, but then if you're like, sometimes it's good to experience life, you know, to get it out of the system. Sometimes you do have to drink in the beginning to get the girl or to become more confident. And then as you age naturally and you get more experience, you realize like, oh, you can actually do away with the alcohol. You build your personality, you understand how it works in a club, and then you go to the clubs and bars not having to be drunk. You don't have to drink anything, you can have fun. So it's different. Some guys, they actually need the alcohol in the beginning, just in the beginning. Try it out, right? Because if you don't lose anything, you may lose your mind, you may black out, but you don't really lose anything. You actually have fun. Don't let other people's opinions rob you of your fun, because sometimes if you drink alcohol, you get a bit drunk, you get with a girl and you realize this girl has good long-term potential. Fuck, you know, you won in the end, right? So that's what I did. Drank alcohol, kind of got tipsy, went with her, started dancing with her. We were grinding and all that. And then I kissed her. She looked back at me and then I left. So I left. Next week, I did the same thing. Danced with her again. Of course, this time she was a bit more skeptical, but I was headstrong. I danced with her and then I kissed her again. And this time she grabbed me by the wrist and pulled me to the side and asked, like, what am I doing? And who am I to you? And I was like, what the fuck is this question? Who am I to you? And then I said, like, you're potential. And then her face was like, huh? So this is the thing. This is also a lesson that I wanted to impart on you guys. When you approach a girl, because it's the job of a man, and then you leave obvious clues, and then you go away as if nothing happened. And then you rinse, wash, repeat until the girl gets the clues, and then the girl like starts chasing you. It's like you dangling a thing on a cat. It's like you dangling, like woohoo, you dangle it, then you pull it away. The cat will kind of try to pounce, right? So it's the same thing here. Leave obvious clues, because sometimes girls, they are intimidated by guys. They want the guys to make the first move. So when the guy does make the first move, but then he pulls away, it shows like either he's in control or he has reservations. So if the girl does like you, she will know that you like her. And so we started dating. And one thing that I realized from this relationship is that women can invest more than a man can in a relationship. In fact, women can also simp. Like for example, this one. This girl, she gave me her old phone, her old iPhone, for us to have this steady channel of communication. Because back in the day, back at that time, I only had an iPad. And I could only be reached through Facebook Messenger. And she wanted to reach me through WhatsApp or WeChat. So she gave me her old phone. So for me, I'm like, well, cool. Now, for a guy who didn't have a phone, I didn't have a phone. All I had was an iPad. The phone that I had was like the Nokia brick phones. That's how outdated I was, and I didn't really keep up with the trends, nor did I want to. So she gave me the iPhone, and I had a new phone for free. So that's the proof there. But then after that, I went to Portugal on to finally get a job and to start my career. We dated for 2 years, and then this is one lesson, was that long distance relationships, because she went back to China, long distance relationships don't usually work out. That's the truth there. Long distance relationships don't really work out, because as they say, out of sight, out of mind. And even if she did come to visit, you know, that same vibe was no longer there. And we eventually just drifted apart, because first, the time zones were different. So by the time I was sleeping, she was already waking up. So we could only video call for a couple of minutes or maximum 1 hour. But that's it, you know. Eventually it will drift apart. So for you guys who are considering long distance relationships, take it with a grain of salt, my advice, but probably it's not going to work out for you. And it's best to move on for a different girl. Because when we did break up, within within a month or two, she already had another boyfriend, and then she married the dude. So in my opinion, I'm like, fuck, you know, it's like the red pill thing where girls always have options everywhere. And when they do break up, it's not like they break up and then they have nobody. They break up And then because there's already a dude on the side who wants to get with her. So she's already sure of that. You break up, maybe you don't have any other girl. So that's where I learned that truth. So as I said, I'm in Portugal, working my ass off, learning the trade, upgrading my skills, just hustling, just focusing on myself. And then I noticed that in Portugal, a lot of people got tattoos, and like a lot of dudes, like almost majority of the population of the people here, they have tattoos. So I wanted to get a tattoo as well. And it's just a way of, self-expression, of becoming more unique as a person. Not unique in this country because everyone has tattoos, but unique as like compared to the demographic that you come from. Like for me, I'm from the Philippines, I'm from Asia. Most people in Asia don't necessarily have tattoos. Tattoos are associated with like gang activity, yakuza, triads or whatever. Of course, now it's kind of changing, times are changing and people are getting more tattoos just for fun. But nevertheless, self-expression, you have to know how to express yourself. Tattoos, your body, because as an Asian guy, usually Asians are not very muscular, but if you're an Asian and you're muscular, fuck, you're already way above the crowd, right? Your hairstyle, smell, as I said, your style, and if you don't have any of those, even your state of being, the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you hold frame and all that, all these things are ways of self-expression. And the thing with my tattoos personally, these tattoos are not things that I picked off of the album in the tattoo shop. No, these tattoos, for those of you who don't know, I actually designed myself. I actually drew it out on an A4 piece of paper, used a measuring tape to measure my arm, put it down on the piece of paper and then draw it out myself because it means something to me. This is a true art of self-expression. When people say like, oh, why'd you get a tattoo? I'm like, I like this tattoo because I am more of who I am with this tattoo than without it. Because this tattoo came from my head. So it's like the true essence of internal manifesting in the external. And sometimes I look at this tattoo and I see that that's the truth. Internal will manifest in the external. Whatever you think and believe you can achieve in life, you can have in your life. So the lesson here is it easy to refer to you? Do you stand out in a good way? When people refer to you and they don't know your name, do they know how to describe you in a way that everyone knows what they're talking about? Back in the day, I was like also with the spiky hair, they would call me like Son Goku or Goku. Just like that, are you easy to refer to, or do you blend in with the crowd? Because if you blend in with the crowd, then how do people like point you out, and how do girls tell the other girl that, oh, I have a crush on that guy? Oh, which guy? Oh, I don't know his name, but he I don't know how to describe him, he looks like everyone else. No, it's easier to say like, oh, I have a crush on this guy. Which guy? Oh, is that guy the Asian guy with tattoos? It's simple as that. It's the same thing with marketing. Marketing, there's this concept of positioning. And you have to have a clear positioning. This positioning is, what position do you have in the customer's mind? If in this case, girls. What positioning do you have in the girl's mind? Do you have the top of mind when they first think of like handsome dudes? Are you there? Where do they first think of smart dudes? Are you there? Do they think about like a rebel? Are you there? All of these things. It's positioning. Are you easy to refer to? Like when you are thirsty, what's the first thing that you think of? Like in sports, when you're thirsty, first thing that comes to mind, what? Gatorade or Red Bull, Monster. First thing that comes to mind is soft drink, Coca-Cola, Sprite, 7-Up. All of these things have clear positioning. You have to find that position yourself in the girl's eyes, in women's eyes, in people's eyes. It's a concept of marketing that will help you not only in relationships, but also in work, in your career, and in life in general. When your style, is really good, and people around you don't have a good style, it's easy to refer to you. You have a clear positioning. When you're buff and most people are not buff, it's easy to refer to you. You have clear positioning. When you speak up and you're intelligent, you're eloquent, it's easy to refer to you. You have clear positioning. So use what you got, work with what you've got, and try to broadcast it that way. Alright guys, unfortunately I'm gonna have to stop the video here because I don't want to keep my videos too long. I know you guys are busy, and I still have 4 more examples from my own life with pretty long notes here and a lot of lessons to impart, lots of nuggets of wisdom. And in this case, I'm gonna also talk about like the green flags and red flags to spot in women. And sometimes red flags will not be known unless you kind of nudge them out, or you kind of, create the stimulus for the red flags to show themselves. And I've done this over years. That's why I know how to vet between low value and high value women. and that's why I'm gonna keep this for part 3. So unfortunately guys, I gotta stop here. Hope you guys have a great day. If you haven't already, do like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe if you haven't already. So yeah, see you guys soon.